Good day, everyone.
Hi, I'm EJ.
I'm Rodel.
Micah.
And I'm Marlon, and we are Group 2, and we will be presenting a case about Fitbit Inc.
It's 8:44 in the evening. My steps counts 3,953 and calorie count 1,394. Good evening. Our report is Fitbit. When it comes to health matters, people seem to become more proactive than they used to be. While professional healthcare is generally still practiced in the response of disease. An interest in preventive measures shows an awareness and behavior, especially among the young. Today, younger consumers are taking initiative on behalf of their well-being, and they are prepared to pay for the premium price. This is the reason why Fitbit revolutionized the personal fitness activity in 2009. The purpose of Fitbit was to measure personal data such as number of step walk, heartbeat, quality of sleep, and step climb. The company developed a number of devices utilizing the tracker technology, which boosted the sales from 5,000 units in 2009 to 21.4 million units in 2015. On May 17, 2015, Fitbit filed an IPO with SEC with an NYSE listing. The IPO brought in $4.1 billion to support their research and development. It was listed initially at $20 per share, and it had increased to $35 per share. In February 2016, Fitbit stock plunged nearly 20% due to the announcement that the sales and earnings in the first quarter would fall short on forecast. The dramatic cost of revenue increase coupled with rapidly increasing operating expenses resulted to a net loss of $102 million. To understand further Fitbit, the mission of Fitbit is to empower and inspire you to live healthier, more active life, and they design products and experiences that fit seamlessly into your life so that you can achieve your health and fitness goal, whatever they may be. Our group decided to take the point of view of the board of directors and the management team. Because the management team sees a more wider part of the market and knows how to strategize to improve their capabilities and their current strength. Statement of the problem: how can Fitbit Inc. restore its competitiveness and profitability? With that, our strategic objective is to regain competitive advantage in the market and to improve declining profitability of Fitbit Inc. Our assumption, the evaluation is being done by year-end of 2016, and the proposed strategy will be implemented starting January 2017. Our group did not tackle more on the financials of Fitbit, but we studied more on the strategy, current strategy, and what will be the strategy of the company. For the areas of consideration, I will turn over you to Marlon. Thank you.
So for the areas of consideration, our group uses the SWOT analysis and the PESTEL analysis so that we can deeply analyze the internal and external factor affecting the company. For the SWOT, we included some of the strengths, weaknesses, other opportunities and threats regarding Fitbit. So for the strengths, we put brand name because the company already had a brand name. And we also included pioneer in health and fitness wearable segment, since they are one of the pioneer in this product segment. We also included loyal followers from fitness enthusiasts. Of course, the product they're offering is also easy to use and the battery life is good. And we included as well a tracker technology and wireless base station. For the weakness, we included lack of differentiators because their competitor is also offering products which has the same capabilities as them. There is also an narrow product line, no complementary products since they only offer the wearable device. That's why in our discussion later, we will be trying to impute some of the other complementary products. Also, the product they're offering is has limited functionality and a lack of third-party apps. Of course, they have a high selling price as compared to their competitors. For their products, they have a design flaws, and some of their product that they released way back has an allergic reaction towards its consumer. And other weakness, the privacy issues, because the wearables try to include the data given by the device to an internet server, and again, sharing information. Of course, it's eminent in the discussion or in the case that they also have a high cost of sales and high operating expenses. For the opportunities, our group see a growth in the healthcare industry because more of the consumers now are being health conscious. That's why the healthcare industry is growing. We also see that they can tie up with the government, insurers, and medical institution, and there are more segments in the wearable industry. Of course, a mobile payment, ease of payment for the current market now. For the threats, we see a number of existing competitors and new entrants like Apple, Xiaomi, and other new competitors. Of course, there are a number of substitutes now because more and more competitors are trying to produce different products, same as the wearable devices, and some technology issues because now currently the technology is very fast paced. Yeah, so we see an issue on the technology side, and of course the environmental regulations. So for the PESTEL analysis, we included in the political there is a stability of the political market because I think the government will have a good or positive initiative towards this product because it's serving the health of the consumers. And there is a regulatory practice on market entry. There is also a liberalization of the trade policy. There is an intellectual property protection, trade regulation and tariffs related technology. Of course, taxation is there. Industry safety regulation in the technology sector as well. For the economic, we see that there is an increased spending in health and fitness devices. More and more of the clients or consumers now are being health conscious, and we see the impact of the inflation rate on the products and the company as well. For the social, of course, the wearables are very fashionable, so they have activity bands and activity watches, the analog activity watches as well, and of course, as I said earlier, there are more health conscious consumer nowadays, so it will impact the company. For the technological, preference for products with high performance and aesthetic appeal, of course, they also uses the LTE, the internet retailing, electronics, and appliance specialist retailers. For the environmental, we try to include some items like product manufacturing are creating pollution since, of course, the way they produce the product, it creates pollution and contribute to the greenhouses. So there are also laws regulating environmental pollution. So if the government will be strict on this aspect, it will affect the company. Of course, there is also increasing awareness of recycling since I think it's affecting the global warming of the earth. That's why there are many movements toward increasing towards increasing the awareness on recycling some recyclable materials. There are also attitudes toward green or ecological products and attitudes toward and support for renewable energy. For the legal, we included the copyright, patent, and the intellectual property. But since Fitbit already had their IPO way back, I think they're stronger on that case. Of course, consumer protection and e-commerce, employment law, which affect their employees. There are also health and safety law that govern how they do things, how they operated their business in terms of the manufacturing, production, how they deal with the safety and health of their employees. And also the Data Privacy Act. I think this is the main since the information of the produced by the wearables is being shared. So that's why U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer declared in August 2014 that the Fitbit is a privacy nightmare because it might share any other information which is concerning the health data of its consumers. To include in our areas of consideration, we also use the Porter's 5 forces. So that's the threat of new entrants, bargaining power of suppliers, rivalry among existing competitors, bargaining power of buyers, and threats of substitute products. So for the threat of new entrants, our group put only a medium risk since the market already has a bigger competition, and we think that new players will be it will be hard for the new players to establish their brand name. So for the bargaining power of suppliers, we put high because as the case mentioned, there is an increasing cost of the manufacturing cost. So I think they have a big impact in terms of really producing the materials to be provided to Fitbit and other competitors. For the rivalry among existing competitors, it's high because there are big player names in the industry like Apple, Xiaomi, and some of the other competitors. For the bargaining power of buyers, we only put a low risk since, as we mentioned in our previous discussion, more and more consumers are becoming more health conscious, so they will be buying more wearable devices like what is being offered by Fitbit. For the threats of substitute products, we put high risk since there are other devices now being offered as compared to the wearable devices offered by Fitbit. There are also new apps in the cell phone industry. More of their competitors put applications to supplement the devices they offer. So for the theoretical framework, let me turn over you to Micah.
So good day, everyone. So in order for us to be guided on our alternative courses of action and our decision criteria, we utilize the resource-based view framework as seen in our slides. So the resource-based view is a managerial framework which seeks to determine how a firm's strategic resources achieves sustainable competitive advantage. It is applying strategic management and strategic marketing in order to identify and understand core competencies in response to the ever-changing external environment. So in here, resources are inputs into the production process and are the basic unit of analysis such as capital, skills of the employees, brand names, and finance. Capability is the capacity to put the resources to productive use. While resources are the source of the firm's capabilities, capabilities bring about competitive advantage. The returns to a firm's resources and capabilities depend upon two factors, namely sustainability and appropriability. So sustainability refers to the resources' durability, transparency, transferability, and replicability. Appropriability is the firm's ability to appropriate its returns or profits. The essence of strategies is protecting these resources and capabilities and ensuring their effective use. So we move on to our alternative courses of action. So for our first alternative, expand to smart wearables market. This alternative pertains to expanding to smart wearables market and partnering with Xiaomi to manufacture its products at a lesser cost. So in this case, we chose to partner with Xiaomi because based on research, this brand gives the best quality at an affordable cost. In this case, Xiaomi will still continue to manufacture and sell its existing smartwatches under its brand. This setup is like Samsung supplying the screens of Apple products. So with this, advantages are wider market reach since we will still continue to compete in the consumer market, opportunity to innovate smartwatches since we can already incorporate the technology being used by Xiaomi, cheaper manufacturing costs since we are already outsourcing it. However, disadvantage is challenges in quality control since it is outsourced. Fitbit may have difficulty in monitoring the actual quality of its products, and threat of strong competitors, namely Samsung and Apple. As I mentioned earlier, we will be competing in the consumer market, and based on our research, Samsung and Apple are already pioneers and leaders in this segment. So for our second ACA, which it is to specialize in healthcare. Fitbit would move to the niche market and specialize in healthcare. They will continuously manufacture the product and add more features. So if before, Fitbit would only have the number of steps walked, heart rate, quality of sleep, and steps climbed, other features or additional features may include blood sugar tracking for diabetic patients, speech assistance, and location tracker for patients with Down syndrome, and blood pressure monitor. Advantages of this is opportunity to cater to a new market, potential to develop unique and superior products because there is a small number of companies catering to this segment and focusing on healthcare, and lesser marketing and selling costs. So we say this because since you are catering to a niche market, you can already utilize your partnerships with different hospitals, healthcare companies, and rely on word of mouth and recommendations or referrals instead of competing or marketing in the mass market. And this advantage is investment in R&D. So since we are more focused on healthcare, it would entail a more focused and more thorough study on the products and its features, since this would affect the health of patients. Alternative is to transfer from selling hardware to software. So in this alternative, Fitbit should cease to manufacture its watches and other activity tracker devices and instead capitalize on its tracker technology to save on costs. The company should focus on developing its own proprietary OS focused on healthcare and fitness website and data analytics, then market and sell it to competitors such as Apple, Samsung, and Xiaomi. So this is similar to IBM's strategy of shifting to business process solutions, IT infrastructures, and softwares, and offering to other companies instead of selling laptops and other computer hardware. So advantages of it is giving up its market share in hardware, since currently a huge chunk of its revenue is still from hardware or the physical watches and tracker devices. And then target an untapped market because currently only a few, if there are any, are offering the actual platform on where the apps and other features would operate. And then disadvantage is investment in research and development. So this alternative would lessen manufacturing costs and cost of sales since it would shift to software. However, this would entail additional investment in R&D and then diverting Fitbit from core competency since currently its main generator of income is hardware and it would transfer to software, so it would entail a different set of resources and capabilities as we have seen in the framework mentioned earlier. And then finally, our fourth alternative is developing and innovating other products related to health and fitness. So since the watch segment is already highly competitive, Fitbit will invest in research and development in other sports apparel or gadgets, which can also be integrated with different health and fitness tracking technologies and be monitored through applications. Examples of these new products would include smart clothing, such as jackets that would respond to changes in temperature, and attachments to rubber shoes which can determine muscle strain. So advantages of this is targeting an untapped market since few companies are offering smart clothing, pioneer in smart clothing, and then disadvantage is investment in R&D since this would also entail higher costs since it also taps the health and wellness of customers. Investment in manufacturing costs since our initial analysis is that Fitbit would also manufacture these apparel, and also diverting Fitbit from its core competency since currently it capitalizes on its hardware, software applications, and features. So by introducing other products, it would, as same with alternative B, it would also need a different set of resources and capabilities for it to be effective and for it to be successful. So for our recommendation, I would turn you over to EJ.
So I'm here to discuss with you our recommendation. So for our recommendation, we have 4 criteria. First would be resources. If it capitalize on the company's strengths and address opportunities. So we gave it 15%. Next would be capabilities. If the company can do more effectively than its rivals. So we gave it 20%. Third would be competitive advantage. If there is potential for sustainable competitive advantage and if it generate optimal returns, so we gave it 35%. Last would be strategy. So if does it exploit the firm's resources and capabilities relative to the external environment. So we gave it 30% weight. So overall that's 100%. So for ACA 1, so we gave it a total of score of 3. So for ACA 2, we gave it a total of 4.35. For ACA 3, we gave it a score of 3.7, and our ACA 4, we gave it a score of 4. Okay, so we gave the ACA 2 the highest score, which is the ACA 2 is the specializing in healthcare and tapping the niche market, because it creates a new market by tapping customers age 50 and above. Fitbit can fine-tune its features to better cater to its customers. With the development of the blood sugar tracker for diabetics and other improvements, Fitbit can sell its products at a premium, contributing to higher revenue. Other advantages of ACA 2 is Fitbit can tap into several suppliers. Government or insurance companies can subsidize their manufacturing. Marketing and selling expenses can be lessened and reallocated to research and development. While research and development could be a joint effort between Fitbit and the government. And there could be a strategic partnership and alliances with hospitals, pharmacies, health clubs, and health insurance companies. Okay. Another thing to consider is that once the company is able to successfully manage its costs vis-a-vis revenues and becomes profitable, it is recommended to pursue ACA4 or to develop and innovate new products related to healthcare and fitness. Okay. So for our implementation plan, following the resource-based framework Micah discussed earlier, so it comes with 5 stages. So the first stage will be we will assess if Fitbit's business environment versus its competitors and identify opportunities for better utilization using SWOT analysis. So the first step would be to call a business meeting, set objectives of the meeting, run a SWOT analysis of Fitbit in the healthcare industry, which will be done by the management team. Next would be to analyze the company's strengths and its challenges, so the company can develop action plans on how to address those challenges and capitalize on the company's strengths, which will be done also by the management team. So the stage 2 would be we will identify Fitbit's capabilities and level of competition against its rivals using Porter's 5 forces. So the first would be there will be a meeting, they will set an objectives, and then they will run the Porter's 5 forces of analysis on the healthcare, gadget, and activity tracking industry. This will be done by the management team, and once that's done, they will identify things that could improve Fitbit's industry position and increase profitability with respect to each forces. Stage 3, we will identify and assess Fitbit's competitive advantage and core competencies in healthcare using VRIN or VRIO analysis. So first will be there will be a strategic meeting, the objectives will be set, and the VRIN or VRIO analysis will be run on Fitbit in healthcare gadgets and tracking industry. So in VRIN, they will identify the resources that are valuable, rare, inimitable, and non-substitutable. So, and lastly, once it's done, they will analyze the results to learn the competitive advantage and core competencies of Fitbit. This will be done by the CEO together with his management team. So, for the 4th stage, we will assess and select Fitbit strategy using the strategy formulation and execution process. So a meeting will be called, the objectives will be set, and they will run the strategy formulation and execution process. In here, they will develop the vision, mission, they will set objectives, and craft the strategies, and execute the strategies. Until the crafting of strategies, this will be done by the CEO and management team, and the execution will be executed by the staff and the management team. So the last stage will be the stage 5, wherein we will identify if there are gaps in the strategy and resources that need to be filled. So the first step would be we will evaluate and analyze strategy subject to corrective adjustments. So it's recurring, since it's an analysis of the strategy. It will be done by the management team. And their findings will be reported together with their recommendation, will be submitted to the CEO, and it will be reviewed and approved or disapproved by the CEO. So for our learning points, we learned that productive and efficient use of resources and capabilities coupled with continuous innovation in response to the external environment is vital for a company to achieve sustainable competitive advantage. So, thank you. 1, 2, 3.
It's 8:44 in the evening. My steps count.
Uses the SWOT analysis and the PESTEL analysis to sorry.
Diretso mo lang.
Okay. So for the areas of consideration, our group uses the SWOT analysis and the PESTEL analysis. So
It would be an additional or different
They will identify the resources that are valuable, rare, inimitable, which means that it's not easily to be imitated.